Hello. I was an ancestor to the Pueblo people. My people were from the Chaco culture in the place now called Colorado. We were migratory people moving from site to site in pursuit of better land. In my life, we stopped at a waypoint in our wandering at a sacred site called Chimney Rock, named for the two natural pillars which rise atop the nearby mountain. In the year 1077 AD, the moon rose between the chimneys many times, and dark spots were visible on the face of the sun. We took it as a sign, and built the pit house where I lived. A normal pit house is dug into the ground approximately 1.2 to 1.8 meters deep, and is about 4.5 meters in diameter. Our pit house was not dug into the ground, but rather rested on the bedrock, making it an above-ground pit house. We built the interior walls from vertical poles and mud in the form of a jackal structure. A jackal structure consists of 4 corner poles buried into the ground and forked at the top to hold the roof. Smaller poles stood between them, also buried a few inches into the ground. We then fastened sticks horizontally to the vertical poles. We plastered the walls with mud, making them 6 to 10 inches thick. The interior walls and roof were made from interwoven mats of sticks and leaves. The structure was built to withstand the arid and hot temperatures of southwest Colorado. This pit house was both our home and our workshop. Like most Puebloan pit houses, it had 3 workrooms on the north side, 1 for food processing, 1 for lithic processing, and 1 for food storage or cooking. In the food processing workroom to the northeast, we kept manos and medates. In the middle room, a lithic workroom, we had hammers, cores, and other stone tools. The third room in the northwest contained large cooking pots with corn, beans, and wild edible seeds. Additionally, a storage room below the floor contained charred corn. The corn came in 2 varieties grown locally by our people. Objects found at the pit house include axe heads, hammers, polishing stones, drills, and food storage jars. We also had 4 clay prayer plume holders, made there at Chimney Rock, as our pit house had a specialized function as a site of sacred rituals. We stayed at Chimney Rock for less than a century, then abandoned the site in 1125 AD. Many have speculated on the reasons we left, claiming it was due to droughts, epidemics, warfare, the search for better land, or changing religious beliefs. When our descendants tell the story of our wandering, they simply say that it was time to go.
I was part of a tribe of hunter-gatherers from the Arg Nation culture. Our people made significant advances in art and specialized stone tools. We lived in the valley of the River Ake in the Swabian Jura mountain range in southwestern Germany during the last ice age some 30,000 years ago. There was a cave there in the face of one of the mountains called Hohle Fels, or Hollow Rock in English. People had taken shelter in that cave longer than anyone could remember, 10,000 years before our tribe lived there. It was not uncommon for people in my time to take shelter in caves. As features of the natural landscape, they required little effort for construction or maintenance. They also provided excellent protection from the elements, an important feature during the frigid depths of Ice Age winters. Bones tell the story of how this cave was found. There were many old bones of cave bears at the back of the cave. The bears were its original inhabitants. People came to hunt the bears, and once the bears were gone, they made it a home for themselves. Inside the cave entrance, there was a narrow passage about 25 meters long, leading to a domed chamber about 23 meters high, with an area of more than 500 square meters, making it one of the largest caves in Germany. The walls of the cave were covered with mineral deposits, sometimes called rock milk. Outside the cave, someone had built the Helga Abbey, a rock-sheltered area which resembled an inverted cave. Our tribe and its predecessors spent much of their time at the Hohle Fels. It was the place where we slept, prepared meals, and created tools, weapons, and jewelry. We also created art there, in the form of rock paintings and figurines. Some previous inhabitant had created an ivory figure of a bird, and another had created a Venus figurine, a symbol of fertility. There were even fragments of an ancient bone flute. These artifacts, made 35,000 years ago, were the oldest sculptures of human being and the oldest musical instruments that had ever been found.
Our Puebloan Pithouse and the Hohle Fels Cave were very different shelters, each with their own advantages and disadvantages. Our pithouse was an artificial structure and was used only temporarily as our people journeyed across the landscape. The cave was a permanent part of the natural landscape, where people made their residence for 10,000 years. The pithouse required energy and resources to build and maintain, while the cave did not. However, the cave would have required more wood fuel for light to see by. The impermanence of our settlement was no issue for our migrating people. We could build our pit houses almost anywhere, while caves are in limited supply within the landscape. The people at each site were different too. Our people had agriculture, while the inhabitants of Hohle Fels did not.
For all of our differences, however, we shared deep similarities as well. Both of our people needed shelter from the elements and a home space to cook, eat, sleep, and make tools. We both kept objects of spiritual significance in our homes and were capable of tremendous creativity. Our lives were separated by tens of thousands of years, and our homes were a whole ocean apart. Nonetheless, we shared a common humanity, and our homes give evidence to that.